This is the official press conference from the EFC Performance Institute, Johannesburg, South Africa.
The guys at HOT.
Yeah, it's always nice to come here before 2 weeks before my fight. Come and train with this is the guys from HOT is part of our family back in PE. So every time I'm there training there, I feel like I'm still at home. So they help me very much. I really appreciate that. They've been very helpful with my striking and stuff, and we help each other. That's how we build each other.
Because a lot of people must know that JP Kruger's one of the more exceptional striking athletes that EFC's had, a former champion. So he must have added a lot to your arsenal, especially coming up against someone like Zulu, who's a prolific striker, right?
Zulu is not only a striker, he can wrestle, he can do jiu-jitsu. It's just that people, they only focus on his striking. I'm waiting for everything that's going to come, not only striking.
Question for Lutando. How do you see yourself winning the fight?
Sorry?
How do you see yourself winning the fight?
I'm winning the fight.
Keep dreaming, buddy.
It's not a dream, I'm
Taking
winning
this
the
one.
fight.
I'm going back home with the belt. I promise.
No, you're not.
What do you see? Do you see shortcomings in Zulu's game, or do you see your skill set being better? What is it that you see gives you the upper hand?
I think the only way you can win the fight is to knock me out. If not, I'm going to keep coming.
It's not
pushing
true, I
forward.
can also
It's going to
choke
be
you
a
out.
long night for him.
Zulu, what's your feeling on this? I mean, clearly you think you're going to win. Where do you see that you have the upper hand?
It's not the only way that I can knock him out. I can also choke him out. I can also get a referee stoppage, anything. It's not one way I'm going to win this fight. Any way I like.
Is there anything specific you've been training?
If you prepare a guy like Lutando, he's well-rounded as well. So you can't have like one specific thing that you think you're going to finish this guy with. So you're going to put him into deep waters and see where he's drowning, and then you take him there.
You've made it to the top of EFC before. What drives you to get back in the hexagon and get back to the top again?
Yeah, I'd love to be one of the best in the world all the time. So if I'm not king like a champion, if I'm not a champion anymore, I don't feel like myself. So I'm more hungry for this one than ever before.
It's crazy because when you look at the accolades between these two guys, I mean, I almost feel strange that Zulu doesn't have a title around his waist right now, and that Lutando doesn't have a title over his shoulder. So this is the fight that needs to happen. You know, you can do as much matchmaking around the topic as you want, but these are the two guys at the top that should be fighting it out.
This one's for Lutando. Shorty, you had a short stint overseas, which was sadly brought to a halt by COVID. You've got an opportunity here again to face somebody like Zulu, who's been in the same name with the UFC, Henry Cejudo, those kind of guys. What do you think a win here, not only the title, over someone like Zulu Boy does for you?
I think career-wise, a win against Zulu is going to put me in a better position because he's still a big name. Yeah, he's been a champ for a very long time, and I respect him for that, and I take this fight seriously.
Zulu, I'll ask you a similar sort of question. Lutando's had a belt here in this organization before. You've had a belt here before. You were so close to the door of the UFC. What do you think a win here over someone like Lutando Biko does for you in your career?
Lutando is a very experienced fighter, I know, and he's fought overseas as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so he's got a lot of experience. So for me, it's not. It won't be like, how can I put this? Just a random fight. It's like it's gonna be a fight like. It's gonna be a good fight, like a fight that I must take very seriously.
I want to ask, you pulled off a triangle in your last victory, which I think shocked a lot of us. Lutando put on a stand-up display in his last fight. When we look at this fight, we're talking about generally a striker versus a grappler. Do you think that that's true, or there's a lot more to it?
Striker versus grappler, I don't think so, because the guy is smart as well. Like a lot of the guys look at my striking, they don't look at the jiu-jitsu, they don't look at the wrestling is improved now, so he's aware of that. So So, as well, I am aware that he can strike as well. He can grapple as well. He's got nice, good ground and pound. So, I am prepared for that.
Lutando, if we look at your respective records, other than that one finish, most of your fights are literally ground out events. You come away with a decision, hard-fought decision. If we look at Zulu's record, of his 12 finishes or of his 12 wins, 10 of them are finishes. So, most of the fans, we've got a finisher coming in against someone who likes to grind it out the full distance. You spoke earlier about you finishing it and walking away with a belt. How do you see that happening? Because looking at your record, you aren't really a finisher.
I can submit him, I can knock him, I see him finishing me anyway.
Sorry, what was that? Finishing.
Zulu, question to you.
No, no, can we go back to that before? Sorry, man. What did you say, Lutando? I'm sorry, man. Can you say that again, please?
I just said I can finish you anyway, I can knock you out, I can submit you.
Oh, okay. Okay. You can go to your question. That's not going to happen, Lutando.
So if you look at that record, same question to you. If you look at the record, you've got a lot more finishes. You seem to go into the fights, and I'm not saying Lutando doesn't go into the fights with the intent, but you seem to have a lot more intent to finish your fights. Lutando is more sort of inclined to grind them out. Do you see this being a finished fight, or are you going to put it in the judge's hands?
Hey, man, that's a pretty obvious question. I'm not going to leave it to the judge's hands because, it doesn't go my way if I leave it to the judges.
Final question, Graham, and the question's for you. If we see a Zulu win this weekend, where does that put him back in the mix in terms of the bantamweight division? Because obviously, he's fought there, he's got great success there. Now he's coming down to the vacant flyweight. They're scrapping it out for this vacant strap. Does this put him back in the mix when it comes to the bantamweight division?
It should do, but I don't think we're going to explore the bantamweight world with Zulu for a while. I don't think we're going to be using taking Zulu down to up to bantamweight for a while. He went, and the Hadley fight was an incredible fight. That was a flyweight fight. When he went up against Faiz Jacobs, the size was a big difference. It was a fight that I wanted for him. I thought he could, handle the strength. But the reality is that Zulu is an incredibly good flyweight. So to mess around with it at bantamweight, if he can contend and be prolific there, I mean, it's up to him. If he turns around to me and says, I want to be there, great. But I certainly won't push him to go up to bantamweight. I think there's a lot of contenders at bantamweight anyway, and there's a lot of guys for him to chew the fat on. Hadley didn't get into UFC as he thought he would, and he's been pushing me hard for a comeback fight. I still think, on the day, he was the better man, but it did go 5 rounds, and if either one of these guys face Hadley, I think that they'd be in favor again.
Follow up for you there, Gray. So if COVID restrictions permitting, would that be the next fight in the division?
100%. I'd love Jake Hadley to come back. He's got unfinished business. He left as the champion. It was a 5-round war with him and Zulu. And I mean, if Lutando gets the W on the night and that's the next fight, love to make it. If Zulu gets the W, love to make it.
Question for Zulu. Who do you see as a harder opponent? Lutando Biko or Jake Hadley?
I think Lutando Biko. Yeah. Jake Hadley didn't want to fight me. He was just hanging on my back all the time like a little baby. Yeah.
All right, that concludes the questions between the two potential champions. I want to say champions. I mean, you guys are champions to me. I cannot wait to see you guys in action. Thank you very much for the build-up. Thank you for putting in so much hard work in training with one another, training towards fighting one another. Let's have a face-off, please, gentlemen. Put your microphones down here, and let me get in between you. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, moving on to a featherweight, lightweight matchup, a fight that I'm really ecstatic to see happen. Aniset Kanyeba versus Igor Cabeza. Aniset Kanyeba fought Elaine Lunga for the lightweight title. Didn't manage to secure the W there, but there were a lot of issues leading up to and during that camp that I think personally prevented him from getting down to the nitty-gritty. And Igor Cabeza, shock loss over his last fight. And I mean, that punch could have landed, you know, I don't think it would land again, to be honest with you. This guy's back on his game. Both of them want the title, and they are happy to contend at either feather or lightweight. And that's the type of guys that we're putting in the hexagon this Saturday. And he said, and Igor, if you can come up and let's start doing questions with you guys. I mean, it's hard to put an introduction together for guys like this. Both prolific. How are you? I think Aniset has the longest run of fights at the moment in the organization. How many are we at? Like 20, 25 or something crazy? 26?
No, 24. This is the 25.
Jeez, incredible. And Igor Cabeza has been the top of the featherweight for the last 5 years. And we've seen him out-wrestle some of the biggest stars in MMA and out-punch some of the baddest-ass strikers in MMA. And now we're going to get him to see, at a weight division up, at lightweight, to throw down. Guys are getting ready for questions. Let's hand it over. Who wants to be interviewed? Who wants to do interviews first?
Hi, Igor. Have you focused on anything specific leading up to this fight?
Hi, Arena. So we never really focus on anything specifics. You know, we always get into the gym, put the work in. You know, whatever the coach says you do it, you know. But I must say that we did add a bit extra on just strength and conditioning. But yeah, otherwise there was nothing really specific that we added on.
What do you think your biggest advantage is over Aniset?
Well, put it this way. When I was 8 years old and I was busy wrestling on the mat, what was he doing? So that will just tell you that I've got a bit of a higher advantage when it comes to competition. And at the same time, I just feel like I'm just much younger and I'm much hungrier and I'm just faster, I'm better, I'm looking to go further. I feel great. I mean, I've never felt so amazing before a fight. I mean, normally when it's featherweight, by this time, I'm already, yeah, it's a bit of a rough one, you know. I don't think you guys would be having me here if I was fighting at featherweight, to be honest, you know. So currently, I'm feeling good. I'm happy at lightweight also. I mean, it's the first time I actually fight at lightweight in, 7 years? Like, properly, you know, prepare nicely for lightweight with no rush. You know, so I'm feeling 100%. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling happy. I'm in a very good space right now. I know what happened last time when I was in the cage. And from then until now, it's just been a nice growth for me, you know, as a person mentally, as a person, as an athlete, you know. So, yeah, I feel good.
Follow up there for Aniset. Igor says, what were you doing when he was 8 years old? What's your combat sport history like, and can you shed some light on what your past background and experience?
Thanks. Yeah, you know, with me, age doesn't count. My problem is like I'm hard work. I'm every day in the training. This is my work. Besides training, besides fighting, I'm not doing anything. I'm just training. If you see, you come to our gym, they will tell you, any gym I pass, they will tell you about my fitness. I'm so super fit. You can give me a fight on 1 week, you see me super fit. You see me fit. You see my fitness there, and then I'm not afraid of fighting. You can give me fight monthly. After 1 week, and you see me in the hexagon training and fighting. Age doesn't count, but we be inside the cage. I fought also my private fight with Ilunga. He was younger than me, but on the third round, he was guest. I was no guest. I fought 25 minutes. I was 100%, even tired. I was like, I'm just breaking a sweat. Yeah, what they say, it's his opinion, it's not my opinion. My opinion is like, we be inside the cage. It's a tough fight. I'm not saying I'm taking it lightly because he defended the belt for many years and he was a champion. Between him and Ilunga, the hard fight it's Cabeza because I know he can move, he does have fitness like I have fitness. I'll be competing boxing, I'll be competing a lot of sports. I'll be in the cage, you face me. You see, the edge is not inside there.
Are you going to be able to keep up with his wrestling ability?
Yeah, you know, this is MMA. I'll be training everything. Like in Ilunga's fight, I was like, because I know it's a stand-up fight, I was prepared for the stand-up and just was grappling, not wrestling. But on this fight, I prepare everything. Everything will come, I'll take it. I can even take him to the ground, like I did to Pierre Botta.
Can I just ask a question? I know it's a bit arbitrary, but I mean, I've talked about it openly, but I've never really addressed it with you. Surely, the fact that Conrad was knocked out backstage, I walked straight backstage. You were walking out, and your coach is in the infirmary. That must have really messed with your head. That and obviously the medical issues leading up to the fight. There's a lot of things that must have messed with you going into the Ilunga fight, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of things, you know. On the weekend of the fight, I was going up and down to the doctor. My mind was not right. Even the time my coach, I found out like I was in the cage, my coach is not there. And then after that, I wanted just to finish the fight. I wanted just to finish the fight. I was not thinking about take him down because I know on our private fight before the one you fought, I even tried to take him to the ground. But on this fight, I was like, let me just finish him. Let me just finish him. Itua was just coming forward. All the time he was going back. He was not even trying to engage. He was just coming back just to wait for me and take me to the ground. And my mind was not right. But on this one, my mind is 100% right.
Igor, this one's for you. Just on those notes, barring the mental stuff, do you think that Eleni Lunga laid a blueprint on how to beat Aniset, and it plays in your favor with the wrestling style?
That's interesting. I think he did. I mean, he exposed something, that's for sure. But like credible to Aniset, I mean, his stand-up is amazing. But also, I mean, when it comes to stand-up, it's a very big risk game. You know, if you're fighting someone stand-up, you've got a chance that that person can throw a punch and it lands and anything can happen, you know? So like you were saying now, I think there's holes that has been shown from a lane side in terms of the wrestling. And the capitalizing on that, we've done that already. But also, we're not going to sit here and be like, we're coming to a wrestling match, you know? At the end of the day, we're here to perform as MMA athletes. So we're going to get in that cage. If he can keep up with the wrestling, then it's good for him. But if he can't keep up, then it's going to be a problem. And also, I mean, you mustn't take my stand-up and throw it one side and think that it's not going to come, you know? I'm not that guy that will just stand in front of you and put you down or run away or whatever the case is. I'm here to perform. I'm here to give a good performance. And that's what I do.
I want to ask about your return. Obviously didn't go the way you had planned. As we've said, Aniset had some trouble leading up to his fight week. Do you think that, I don't want to say ring rust, but maybe a 1 inch slow reaction, maybe a bit more time in the cage, you could have avoided that shot that put you down and eventually ended in the choke? Or is it just luck of the draw?
So, so basically my return was all about getting back in there, you know, taking my time, and getting the fight done. We were planning on going all 5 rounds, taking it easy, getting back into it. But and we prepared very well. We prepared so well that we even came in underweight. We came in like at 63, if I'm not mistaken. We were very light because I don't know. I think we just trained too hard. But I think what happened in that cage was my timing was off. I was very bad with my timing, and at the same time, I never believed in ring rust. I don't think it was that, but I think it had something to do with ring rust, but I don't think it was that. I just know that my timing was off, and I know that I made a bit of a mistake on the ground also, and I had to pay for it. And it's part of the game, and I'll just come back stronger. I don't feel like he's better than me in any way at all. I just feel like I made a mistake, and my timing was a bit off. But we'll see how December comes, and hopefully I get to fight him again.
Aniset, this one's for you. After your last fight, you mentioned at the press conference you were interested in fighting at featherweight. We've seen you compete at welterweight as well. How did it come about that you're now staying to lightweight?
Yeah, thanks. I started EFC. I was fighting featherweight. Yeah, after that, I feel like I was cutting too much kilos. I like, no, Graham, let me go to lightweight. That's why you see I was moving lightweight, welterweight, because I can be able to fight even middleweight. But the problem, my normal weight, it's 74. That's my normal.
You can fight middleweight technically, but you can't.
I can't
you mustn't. We don't need you there.
No, I can't fight.
Don't do it.
No, I'm telling you, it's about skills. It's not about to have power. It's about skills. My skills, I can defend any kilos. But the things, I'm focused on lightweight. But now, I'm feel like, let me go to featherweight, and then let me see what I can do in featherweight. But Graham decided I must fight lightweight because I know I can fight featherweight. But now I'm fighting lightweight with Cabeza. After this, I'm going to featherweight. After my win, I'm going to featherweight, and then I'm leaving a space to my teammate called Henning, who's fighting on the same day with me, to lightweight, to have chance also to fight for the title shot. Let me go to featherweight.
Last one for me, Graham. The lightweight title picture has been quite rocky, if I can put it that way. You've got someone who just fought for a title, someone who's long held the title. What does a win here mean for either of these guys in terms of a lightweight picture?
Let me address why it's been rocky. That lightweight belt has been not held up intentionally, but it's just there's been a lot of bottlenecking. You had Boyd Allen and Elena Lunga were very much in the same camp, and it was very hard for them to compete against one another. So we were always navigating around that matchup and trying to work in other contenders and however it was. But like I've said, and I'm open about it, either one of these two guys can contend at either one of those weights. So essentially, if Aniset gets a win and he says to me, great, I want to go to featherweight, I'd be happy to do it. If he wants to stay at lightweight, happy to do it. He is going to face the problem with the Cole Henning thing, so we'll have to address it at the time. But either one of them can contend at lightweight. It's just, I don't know, the type of fight that Elena Lunga would present with Igor, and it's a very interesting matchup. But I spoke to Joe Cummins. He's nursing an injury at the moment. We need to settle that score. Another roadblock in the eventual lightweight, just having one champion and having that contended. But we will get that done this year.
Graham, just to follow up with that, looking at this lightweight division, you've got an interim champ, you've got a champ. Yes, we understand the struggles with Joe coming from overseas. We've got two individuals here that are fighting at lightweight. Igor coming up. Igor called out
and Cole and,
yeah, sure.
and August, yeah.
But in terms of legit contenders to that title, we generally only see 4 at the moment if we look at that roster. Cole's got a little bit to do, possibly.
Yeah, but
August
consider the caliber that you're seeing. The caliber of contender is like at the highest level. It's not like you're saying, okay, well, there's only 4 contenders. The fact that they could contend at 2 different divisions, and August Kayambala is coming up from featherweight. He didn't want to take this fight for that exact reason. He said to me, I want to prove that I could be the featherweight champion. That is his objective. But he's taking this fight because he knows what a big name fight it is. It's the caliber. So that's why I don't want, almost putting them together is sacrilege. But we're doing it in order to clear the bottleneck and get some champions, some legit guys.
Absolutely understand that. So for these guys, is there a title, maybe even with the interim champ in line? Should there be something that takes place, fantastic win come Saturday night?
Can I just say something? Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to the title and all of that, can you guys hear me? Okay, yeah. So when it comes to the title, right, I don't want any lightweight title. I want my title. My title is the featherweight title. I'm going to hold that belt until I'm 58 years old or until I'm 100 years old. That's my belt, okay? So when it comes to lightweight, I'll compete, I'll fight anybody. I can even go up to welterweight if you guys want me to go up there. I'll compete, but my belt is featherweight, and that is that. So that's that's where my focus is. So from today on, I'll fight lightweight, I'll fight bantamweight, wherever weight you want me to fight at, but if you want me to fight for a belt, it's going to only be the featherweight belt. Thank you.
So Igor, just coming back to that point, I know before your last fight, I know we had some conversations about the fact that you were calling out virtually everyone across many, many divisions just to be able to get a fight. You eventually got a fight. You know, one of the other guys spoke about ring rust and all of that. Is this bouncing between all of the divisions purely a way of you to continue to keep sharp, to keep going, so that when the opportunity comes for you to fight for that featherweight strap again, you are razor sharp and ready to go?
Yeah, so basically I'm used to competing every weekend. As a wrestler, we compete every Saturday. There's a competition. So becoming a professional fighter became a bit difficult because now I only compete once every certain now and then. And then it got to a point where I only competed once a year. And that became hard. And then before COVID, it was a year of no competition. And then it was COVID, there was no competition. And then, so it was basically almost 3 years of no competing at all. And then I had to come defend my belt. So that's why I'm like, if I'm not fighting for the featherweight belt, I'll fight any division. Doesn't matter where, doesn't matter who, I will fight. Doesn't matter where, how, whatever, just let me know, I'll be there. But if you want me to fight for the belt, give me the featherweight strap, please.
Final question for Aniset. Aniset, you saw Igor's last fight. You saw from a chin point of view, that chin music that he felt. Your stand-up, your boxing, do you see that is going to be your key to unlocking and beating Igor for the second time in a row?
Yeah, thanks. But you know, it's a different fight. I'm not the guy who fought him. Maybe he did have that advantage. If on my side I didn't get that advantage, but I'll fight on my side, on my preparation, on my style, the way I know how I'm always fighting. I can't say no because the guy hit him and then I'll hit him the same. No. I can even take him to the ground. I can even kick him because you can't say the way I fought Ilunga is the same I'll fight here. Any fight I always change. I can't fight the same style. I need to change. Like to be an athlete, you can't fight always the same time. You need to change.
Question for Igor. How do you see yourself winning the fight?
Yeah.
The people who are doing the odds, are they listening now?
Okay, so I never really predict how I win a fight or how it's gonna happen or whatever the case is. I just know that I'm gonna win. But definitely we're gonna definitely try knock Aniset's head out cleaner. We're practicing that head kick. I mean, after that jab he's gonna throw, we're gonna just practice that head kick and it's gonna come in. We've been timing it 100%.
Question for Igor. Igor, you said you can fight anyone, anytime, anyway. So tell us, just give us one name. Who would you like to fight in the bantamweight division?
Zulu.
I think Graham is gonna get angry at me with this one. So when we came back, before I had my title defense, I wanted to fight Faiz Jacob. Okay, I wanted to fight Faiz, but then Zulu said he wants to fight Faiz. I was like, no, I want to fight Faiz. So I think going down to bantamweight, I think it would be nice to fight Faiz Jacobs. If not him, then I don't know. But I think he's Mara Zulu. Zulu. You know you're gonna win. Why must I go there? Zulu. How?
Question for Aniset. The World Sport betting odds, you can more than triple your money if you bet on you to win this fight and you win. How do you see yourself winning this fight?
Yes, I always bet on myself every single fight because I always believe on myself. I always believe on myself. I always bet for myself. Yeah, I win these fights, I win by gun and pound.
All right, that concludes the Q&A between two very prolific fighters. Both of them seeking title aspirations. Let's do a face-off between you two gentlemen. It's going to be a great fight. Thank you very much. Aniset Kanyeba, Igor Cabeza. Okay. Up next, we have another mix of divisions. Both featherweight and lightweight collide. We know it's been very difficult to find an opponent for Cole Henning. And what an opponent we found him. Can we get August Kayambala and Cole Henning up here? This is a matchup between two incredibly talented athletes. A matchup I never thought we would see. I'm so glad we get to see. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Nice to have you. All right. Okay, so Cole had a long layoff, came back to EFC with a shock win, and he just kept on doing it and started racking up wins, started making his name, etching his name right up there. He's a stoic figure, as is his opponent, August Kayambala, who has aspirations to contend at featherweight. Let's kick it off.
First question for August. How are you feeling about Cole Henning as an opponent?
It's just a person. It's
What's-
just a normal person. I feel nothing, just feel ready for my fight. That's all.
Was he an opponent you were looking for, or was it who was offered to you and you accepted?
Well, I actually wanted to go for Madiba, as we said. Sorry for mentioning the name, brother. And Nerrick Simon, I think so. The guy didn't want to find me, so we discussed it about Cole earning the 8 man. And then I was like, whatever come, I'll take it. I know it's not a proper featherweight division that I'm supposed to be fighting on, but I'll take it and cross the bridge.
Graham's mentioned many times that Cole is one of the hardest athletes to match in recent times. Do you see a reason that other opponents have been turning Cole down, and is there a reason that you took this fight specifically?
Well, I mean, I guess it should be the case as me. Two opponents didn't want to face me, so I'm not surprised about that. There's a reason why I'm going to face him.
Where do you see yourself having the upper hand in this fight?
I'm seeing myself crossing the bridge, as I said. I'm going to take Cole. I respect him. I've never seen him fight before. I saw a couple of extra videos that people are posting about his last fight. But I'm not impressed. I respect him. He's an MMA fighter. I'm an MMA fighter. Whatever will happen tonight, that night, that's all I can say.
Question for Cole. Cole, how's the preparation been, and is there anything specific you've done?
Thanks for the question. Nothing specific. Training camp went smooth. A lot of hard work into this. So ready to perform.
It's not easy to perform on August, buddy.
Got a glass chin.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This one's for Cole. Cole, I think even before your return, there was this growing notoriety about you and your skill level, and you've come back and you've asserted a bit of dominance, put on some good performances. I want to make an assumption that this part of the fight game is not your favorite, talking and answering questions. How are you coping with this notoriety as this big athlete that's coming up the ranks? And how do you feel about answering these questions?
Just go with the flow. That's how I've been dealing with my life, so yeah, just go with the flow.
And as you get higher and higher up, do you feel any extra pressure?
Not at all. This is what I do every single day without even trying.
I remember you asked for the fight with Boyd Allen. That's what you're working to. You've got a big bridge to cross in August. I think he's also proved he's worth here in this organization. How dangerous is this a fight for you to take on someone coming up that's not in your division? It seems like all the risks are in your corner for this one.
Yeah, I think August, he's probably one of the most violent featherweights out there. Same as me, most probably one of the violent lightweights out there, so we have to meet, collect each other's teeth.
With the win over August, where do you see yourself in the division? We're talking about the lightweight title picture. Where do you see yourself?
Well, I'm a featherweight fighter. I'm not a lightweight fighter. Reason why I'm taking this fight with Cole, it's because I'm going to win the fight and then carry on with my featherweight division, because I know after him, I'm gonna go straight for the title.
Is there, August, is there a sense of a built-in excuse almost by saying that you're a featherweight fighter? I know you're saying you're going to win, but you've repeated it a few times. Do you see it as a no-risk situation because you're fighting up a division?
Come again, please.
I'm saying by going up a weight division against someone like Cole, do you think there's no real risk, win or lose for you?
Well, I've worked very hard to keep myself sharp fighting into the featherweight division. But as I said, I don't see any risk. It's even much comfortable for me in the lightweight. It's just gonna pay because he's not the one who's supposed to be sitting here to face me from his gym. Normally I should have Mikishi back, but he's just going to pay that. I'm not gonna rush with him. I respect him as a fighter, but he's gonna fight. I want him to expect for a real tough fight.
Last one from me. Word on the street was you're the meanest barista in the Western Cape. Is that still going?
That's true.
Question for Cole. Cole, after your last fight, pretty frustrating fight for you, having to chase down a guy who seemed to clearly not want to be there. In terms of coming out of that, getting the mindset all ready to take on a guy like August, who you know is got very violent intentions when that cage door closes. How's that mind shift been for you in terms of the camp between that last fight and now?
We've made a few adjustments, but Cassandra went back. I think I was just hitting him too hard and he didn't want to come forward. If Kayambala comes forward, put him on his ass.
Is August the kind of fighter you're looking to fight, in that August just doesn't back down? He comes forward, he continuously comes forward.
You should not take the fight if it's not a type of fight that you're looking for to fight, brother.
100%, great comment. But from a stylistic point of view, he likes to step forward, he likes to step into that telephone booth and he likes to throw. That's the kind of sort of engagement you're looking for. Is this the kind of thing where it's going to be one of you's going to break that two-fight win streak?
I hope he challenges my stand-up. I won't be the first one to shoot.
Question for Graham. August was on I think he's looking for his 5th win in the hexagon on Saturday night. He did suffer a loss against Mikishi. Do you see him, if he wins this bout, being the next featherweight contender, or Aniset Kanyeba being the next contender if he beats Igor?
I think we need to consider the outcomes. So we've got to look at the fights, how they've played out. I mean, performance is everything. You can have two guys win, and the one puts on a lackluster performance. The sad truth of it is both of those guys always put on great shows. So we're going to have to gauge who's hungrier.
Question for August. Who do you see winning between Igor and Aniset Kanyeba?
Good luck to the guys.
Graham, I've got one more for you. In a sport that's constantly starving for star power, you've got two of the biggest in the organization. What kind of risk is there by putting the two against each other?
Well, massive. And, you know, the team didn't really want this fight to happen. I was quite forceful behind making it happen. And sometimes you need to just roll the dice, because the reality is that their careers won't be defined by just this fight. And we've seen that time and time again, where we put the best together and it brings the best out of them, and we want to see them more, and regardless of W's and L's and who wins and loses, you want to see those guys engage again. I mean, you know, you think about some of the great fights we've seen, Don Madge and Boyd Allen. Like, wasn't for a title, it was just two guys throwing down, and they etched their names in EFC gold in my head on that one fight. So I'm hoping that we get that on Saturday night. In fact, I'm pretty convinced we will.
Is it fair enough to assume that regardless of the result for both of these guys, they'll both just carry on with their prospective title challenges from there?
I would like that, but like I say, it's all down to performance. You know, you never know how the fight turns out, but that's what I've said to August. I said, take this fight. You're still a contender at featherweight. You know, everything depends on performance, but go at it. You know, you want to be active. We want to see more of you. And what this does for August and for Cole, because there's so much gravity behind it, it lifts their hype up one more notch, which is always great when you're promoting a title fight. Who doesn't want this? I don't want them to fight somebody that's, you know, really not going to game with either one of them. You know they game, so we're going to see something great. And from this, when we promote a title fight, we're all going to be chewing at the bit to see it happen, I think.
Last one for August. I had a request from the production team to get a comment from you towards Cole Henning. So an official comment to Cole Henning, please.
I can't get that right.
So do you have a message for Cole Henning? If you could imagine speaking to him if he wasn't standing there.
I'll tell him he must sleep well, and then the next day we fight. That's a message.
All right, that concludes the Q&A for August and Cole. What a fight that's going to be. Let's see a face-off between these two guys. Incredible. Thank you very much, gentlemen. It is an honor, and I'm so glad we're promoting this fight. All right. We don't have your opponent, but it's always good to have you up here, Petey. Let's get Petey Coxson up here. Fighting at middleweight against JT the Blade Buerta out of CRT. The Blade, buddy. Congratulations, first of all. I see you brought your little one. Little girl? Yeah. Awesome. Congratulations. So it takes a real man to have a girl, hey?
Congratulations, Petey. That's great news on your behalf. What's it like fighting and you've just had a newborn in the family?
Awesome.
There's every time a highlight reel video goes up of you on the EFC social pages, it gets more views than nearly every other video, yet it also gets comments from people saying, why is he on the main card and why is he fighting? Do you have a message for those people who are watching your fights? They watch fights with the most action in them, winning performance bonuses, yet they still give you a hard time about competing.
Yeah, I don't know, eh? But yeah, I always bring it. The thunder always comes out. blazing. I'm always here to put up a fight. Either I take the W or I get the loss, but I stick in there and I give everything I have.
If there are any of your past performances that you could rematch with any of your previous opponents, who would it be?
The Coxson versus Siabi one, that was the best performance I ever put up.
Do you think that JT has enough experience to step into the hexagon with you?
Yeah, he's been around a long time. He's fought a lot on amateurs, won a lot of amateur titles and stuff. So yeah, but if he's going to bring something new, I don't know. It's going to be the same as every other guy who's going to step in there with me. They're going to either try clinch me up, take me to the fence, and take me down. They don't want to stand and trade with me. So we've been doing 10% hands on this fight and 90% wrestling.
Is there anywhere specific you see you're going to win the fight?
I'm going to beat him at his own game.
Hey, Petey.
Hello.
Looking at your career, it's been pretty erratic in terms of win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. What do you feel and what does the camp feel that you've got to do to put together a solid run of wins over whoever Graham puts in front of you?
Yeah, mostly of my losses has come either with short notice fights. That's Petey Coxson, and Graham phones me tonight and say tomorrow a light heavyweight fight pulled out, I'll step in. I believe there was a phone call made, but Ferdi said no because my baby was due. So I didn't know about that. I only found about that 2 weeks ago. So I bet you Ferdi phoned me or Graham phoned me straight away. I would have even said yes. But that's the way Petey Coxson rolls. So yeah, a lot of my losses has come off short notice fights. I mean, it was 7 days, 5 days. So Ferdi always fights with me of saying, yeah, let's put in a 5-week, 6-week camp. I always don't get that, but I think that's where my downfall comes, I
mean, that essentially makes you a journeyman for the EFC. I mean, how do you feel about having that kind of sort of banner hanging over Petey Coxson's head and possibly part of Petey Coxson's legacy?
It is what it is.
Looking at that last win, I mean, that must obviously have been great for you, snapping that 5-fight winless sort of run. In terms of going into this fight, you obviously have watched JT Buerta's debut performance. What do you think the secrets are going to be to beat him, other than obviously hitting him on the back of the head?
We worked to say, I didn't watch his video, I didn't watch the fight. I leave up that to my coaches, my wrestling coach and Ferdi, and obviously my boxing coach has sat down for the first time watching the videos as well. So they worked out a game plan. And yeah, JT is the guy who always comes and fights. He is never back down. I believe he was unlucky in his last one. Would have been good to see him go all the way, but yeah, we can't judge him of that performance.
Petey, there was a question about how his fight camp been with a newborn. Something similar. Obviously, we saw you guys had some troubles getting through. Your wife had some difficulties with the pregnancy. Your baby's here. What is your motivation like mentally right now to bring a win home?
I think this is the best I've been motivated. My last fight was pretty high motivated. I mean, you saw me running out there. I just had my baby's name in my head the whole time. So yeah, even Ferdi has even said this has been the best. He's seen me move, strike. So yeah, this is the best motivation a guy can have, just looking at little princess's eyes.
And just on that note, what is the message that you're trying to send to your kids every time you step in there? Obviously, it hasn't always gone the way you planned, but you keep coming and you keep fighting. And what's your message to them?
Man, fighting in there is like what life throws at you. Life hits you harder than you can ever get punched in there. So you fall, you stand up, you rise again, and carry on. So whatever happens, you just look forward and take it on the chin.
All right, thank you very much, Petey. I wish we had your opponent across from you. If you can just do a face-off into camera. do a fight pose there for me. Petey Thunder Coxson at middleweight. Haven't seen that in a while. Against JT the Blade Buerta. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Petey. All right, moving on to a very cool fight, a fight I'm very excited to promote. So we have a new athlete joining our ranks. He's 6-0 as an amateur champion, coming from Dublin, Ireland, by way of Zim. Yes, Takama Hindu is coming down the stairs. You'll notice a very tall bantamweight. How are you, mate? Good to have you aboard. Take a mic there.
Thank you for having
He will be fighting Aziyashu Chitamba, and we know this kid well. He's put on some highlight reels for us. One in particular, the teep finish chin kick to Billy Oosthuizen. Incredible. And he's back in the mix, looking to welcome Taka to the EFC. All right, let's kick it off.
Welcome, Taka. When did you arrive in South Africa?
I only arrived this morning. I think my flight arrived about 10:15 this morning, so I'm literally fresh off the plane, got to the hotel room, dropped my bags off, kind of had a little shower, chilled out for a bit, and came straight down here, straight to business.
You don't sound Zimbabwean.
No, that accent was gone a long time ago. I moved to Ireland when I was 5, so that accent went a long time ago.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background in Dublin?
In martial arts or just Dublin in general?
Bit of both.
Bit of both. In Dublin, it's kind of like, I was a bit of a troublemaker, I was a bit of a messer, so I was always kind of getting myself into things I shouldn't have been doing. But and then I found MMA, found Chris and Team KF, so they kind of led me through the right path and kind of gave me something to do, something to focus on. So, and it's led me to South Africa, so it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool adventure I'm on now at the minute.
Question there for Graham. A while ago, when EFC was focusing 100% on African athletes, you were looking for guys like Henry Fadipe with African roots who were living in Ireland. Did you have the same sort of feeling about Taka?
Yeah, I think that was pretty much the mandate, like speaking to a lot of the managers overseas. And there are a lot of athletes from Africa circling the European circuits. And it only makes sense that they kind of return, I want to say, home or to the African promotion and really grow themselves, hopefully, into the UFC one day. Because, I mean, that's kind of the lowest bearing fruit for them. Come over here, really get some traction, and, yeah, grow.
Another question for Taka. You've been, I don't know how much you've watched on your opponent, how much you've watched the division, but where do you see your level compared to your new counterparts?
I've watched all of his fights actually, and I know it was 4-3. This is going to be his 8th professional fight, and it's only my debut. But if COVID didn't happen, if the year and a half missing from fighting didn't happen, I probably would have been 4 or 5-0 right now. So I'm fighting the kind of the level of competition that I should be fighting at this point in my career.
Is there anyone notable that you train with that you think is similar? Do you guys have a big training camp back home?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys that are kind of similar size, kind of similar movement. There's a guy in particular called Ryan, or actually two. They come from taekwondo backgrounds. Ryan Shelley and Colin Carroll. So I was kind of working with them a lot because I seen he kind of has a bouncy style, a kind of taekwondo traditional martial arts style. So I've been doing a lot of rounds with them, kind of preparing for Tashishamba. I can't pronounce it, I'm really bad.
Graham, can you help out there?
Aziyashu.
Aziyashu.
Just say Azi.
Azi, that's better.
Question for Aziyashu. How do you feel about being so experienced and fighting someone on their debut?
Well, you know, ever since I've started watching fights, I've seen guys with like 30, 40 odd fights losing to guys with 5 fights. So I'm gonna take him as serious as any other guy that I've faced before. Just because he's only doing his pro debut doesn't mean it's gonna be an easy fight. So yeah, I'm pretty serious with this one as well. So yeah.
Have you been able to see any footage of him or anything like that?
Yeah, I've watched a bit of tape on him, and yeah, he seems like, yeah, I saw a few knockouts and whatnot, so yeah, he seems pretty competent. Yeah.
Just to address, a lot of people would say, why would we put somebody who's making their debut against somebody who's been around the hexagon quite a lot for us, is the standard of competition is completely different in Europe. And I'm not knocking our amateur circuit, but they just are not as polished as what the European circuit is when it comes down to fights. And somebody to become a champion in an amateur promotion in Ireland or in Europe gives them a little bit more gravity than that. And I've seen this guy in action. He's pretty good. So we're gonna have a good fight here, let me tell you.
Isaiah, should you see any weaknesses that you're looking to expose?
Yeah, I did see a few weaknesses, but I'm not going to mention any right now. So that's just between me and my corner man.
I'll find out on the weekend probably.
Taka, welcome to South Africa.
Thank you very much.
Have you considered external factors like things like altitude, for example, in Joburg?
No, like the main external factor that I was kind of worried about was the flight over, but like I got a bit of sleep there. I think I got about 6-7 hours sleep on the flight over, so I woke up today and I was fresh. I literally jumped off the plane, but in terms of the altitude, I don't think that played that big of a factor because my cardio is very good. Like I do a lot of strength and conditioning. Like the guys are training back home, like we do a very intense training. So like I don't think that's gonna affect my my fight that much, to be honest with you.
And what was the process to get to Johannesburg?
The process to get to Johannesburg. So I went from Dublin to Dubai, and then from Dubai to Johannesburg, and then we had like a 4-hour layover in Dubai. And the airport over in Dubai is amazing. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that a lot. Yeah, it was literally it's like a city in a hotel. It's like a city in an airport. Sorry. So it took us like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to walk from one side to another. So I was literally just soaking it all up, soaking up all the energy and soaking up just the experience that I have in front of me now. And I'm looking forward to facing Asi and beating him and getting into the hex.
Azzy, we spoke about you've got a debutant. Is it just business as usual for you and want to get back to winning ways and keep the momentum going?
Sorry, please repeat that.
I want to say we've spoken about dealing with a debutant. What is that like for you, and is it just a matter of just carrying on with your business?
Well, it's pretty interesting. I think a lot of people believe that I have a lot to lose fighting a debutant. But yeah, man, take it as it is, as it comes. So yeah. We'll see. We'll see on the night.
Any exciting stuff that you want to do while you're here?
At the minute, the most exciting thing I want to do is fight. That's my main focus. I should not tell you what now. The most exciting thing I want to do is eat. I can't wait to get the weight down. For me, the weight's usually the fight is usually just a weight cut. It's never usually that rough. But like I love my food, so I'm gonna enjoy. I want to enjoy eating out whenever the fight's over and whenever I weigh in and stuff. Yeah.
Last one for me, sorry, I meant to ask it earlier. How much did you know about the EFC before you got the call to come and fight you?
I'd heard of EFC. I knew a couple of guys from Ireland had flown over and fought in the show, and I knew it was the biggest promotion on the African continent. So it was definitely it was an avenue that I wanted to go along, especially to kind of try and get me to UFC, especially with the UFC. Having a lot of African athletes and African champions like Ngannou, Adesanya, and Usman all coming from Nigeria, and whereas Cameroon. So I'd love to get my name up there with all them guys and kind of follow the process that they done. And EFC is the best place to do it as well.
Question for Graham. Graham, there's been a lot of talk just in this interview alone just about a debutant against someone who's as seasoned as Asiashu. Looking at the card, there's a couple of those that on paper you would say, my goodness me, what was going through Graham's head? Describe for us how tough it's been now during COVID to actually matchmake, because I would assume a lot of fighters haven't been training, aren't ready to be able to step into the octagon. So from your point of view, to actually put together a fight card, I mean, we spoke a bit about Cole Henning. No one wants to really sort of step in front of him. Here we've got a situation, opening fight is probably another one of those. The Barros fight is another one. How tough has it been?
It's quite interesting because I think there's two questions there, or two things I want to answer. And the first is, I think we're being very precious with records. We're being incredibly precious with records. MMA is not boxing. Boxing, you would never do this, ever. But we're in a very different it's a completely different sport. You know, you can get a guy like Akosi Ioanu. He never had an MMA fight in his life and came in and became the champion. And we actually went through a list of those the other day, and I couldn't believe how many guys I debuted in EFC. They have to start somewhere, and the reality is they didn't have amateurs. I mean, this guy's got 6 amateurs in an international promotion. You know, it's very different. So we're looking at it very closely in terms of the level that they're at. And this record story, I mean, we wouldn't have great fights if it was all about records. And we're not a league. We don't go, okay, he's number 1 and he's number 2, because that's boring. This is exciting. You know, we've got guys that are hungry, that their coaches who are well known themselves believe that he can compete at this level, and that's enough for me. You know, to watch the guys and know where they're at and go, well, I'd love to see that guy fight for us. I think this is a hell of a matchup. So I'm not even thinking about records. I think it's a great matchup. The Cole Hennings and the August Kayambalas, I mean, great matchup. Like on paper, I don't see many guys that would query the records except for Petey and JT Buerta, effectively. And to be honest, JT against Zico, he's got fire, and he's from a really good camp. Like, there's many factors. So I want to put that aside, right? And I think that we're putting on great fights regardless, and we're not precious about the record. The second thing, the caveat to that is, it is hugely difficult putting on fights. And not so much just the original fights, but finding replacements, because guys they're not training as actively as they were. They're not prepared. They're not ready. So if I'm phoning up somebody 2 weeks out, a week out, there are those that we've got on the card, like, you know, the Peteys and Aniset. So we'll take a fight tomorrow. But they are very few and far between that. We don't have it like we used to, where you could phone anybody up and they're like, cool, I was in camp anyway. I was going to be on the next fight card or whatever. Guys are really not stepping up like they used to. But it just means we're whittling it down to great matchups. Right, we're cutting the fluff and putting on great fights.
Taka, question for you. Coming from the UK and the situation in the UK around the pandemic and everything that's happening there, in terms of training, being able to get into the gym, get a full camp on, really have a nice build-up to this fight, any issues that you've had in terms of what's happening at a bigger level in the UK?
First thing, Ireland isn't in the UK. I'll just correct you on that one there. But yeah, in terms of my training being affected by COVID and stuff like that, I've been flat out training the last year and a half, kind of like, cause obviously it's been a bit on and off, but my development throughout that time hasn't really hindered anything except my fights. But like I've been training, I've been consistent with it, and I've improved a lot. So like now it's just time to go out there and do it, and I'm ready to go.
Last one for me. Graham, with the arrival of a team from Dublin, does that mean that the doors are about to open with an influx of international fighters back in the EFC?
Yes, very excitingly so. And we've got guys that are saying to us, we're not coming out for purses, we're not coming out for any other reason just to compete there, because we know that you guys are a good promotion, incredible production, UFC quality in that way, and we're going to punt them very hard. So we've got guys. I've got a Canadian fighter coming over. I've got more guys from Europe coming over. So you're going to see a bleed-in of some really cool talent. And it's just awesome for athletes like Azzy who, get the opportunity as well to fight internationals. And that's what we want. We want guys to have really competitive matchups.
Last question for Aziashu. Any word for your supporters?
No, all the best.
No, your supporters.
Oh, my supporters. I've been preparing hard for this fight. I've been working on my ground, my defense, my offense, my stand-up as well. I haven't let anything, just caught me off guard, basically just look out for me. I'm going to come back with a big win, and definitely we'll see you the 11th of September.
Last question for Taka. Anything for your friends, family, guys used to watch you fight back home?
Just a thank you really more than anything else. Just for to my teammates and my family. Obviously, give me the support that I need, but mainly to my teammates for helping me get here and kind of just give me the hardest rounds that I could have gotten to kind of get me as prepared as I could have been for this opponent. Like he's very experienced. He's almost a veteran at the sport now at this point. We're nearly 8 fights, so. I'm looking forward to this test. He's a tough guy, and I'm obviously been looking forward to my pro debut for a while. So, seems like the stars are in line. I'm just ready to go.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Taka and Azzy. Lovely to have you guys fighting one another. Let's do a face-off for the two bantamweights. Tall guys at 61 kilos. South Africa and Ireland, by way of, well, Zim, by way of Ireland, ready to show up and put on an incredible fight. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That one's a sleeper. That one's going to be an incredible fight. All right, we've got two more. We've got two more athletes to go through. I think we should bring them both up together. They're from the same camp, Orlando and Gift. So they're not fighting each other, but it'll be great to interview the two athletes. Gift the Daywalker. Ah, is that some vampire theme, eh? Tell us.
So I actually didn't give that name to myself while we were on that note. That was my manager, Jimmy, because he was like, I'm like you said, like a vampire, like the Daywalker. So I was like, okay, I'll write it, I'll take it. It's a cool name.
Awesome. You are making your debut on this fight card. And we've got Orlando Machava.
Oh, thank you so much.
Good to have you back in action. You just fought.
Yes.
We're going to get you going again. Let's pass it over for questions.
Orlando, nice to have you back.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, sir. And ready for next one. Yes. I'm feeling good and ready for next one, sir.
And any word on your last fight, your feelings on your previous fight?
I never feel like really sore in my heart because I know that is a game. I have to go back and fix it and then come back again. So I think that I'm excited for next one. I already fixed it. I already done fixed all my problems for the last time. So I think this is going to be a good one.
Are you enjoying fighting so close together, one fight after the other?
Really, I enjoy it so much. Very good.
Orlando will be fighting Eduardo Barros. He's flying in from Angola, from Luanda, training out of team, I think it's Angolan top team. So I'm excited to see this. He's been wanting to debut for a long time. So I think it's the right fight for him. It's going to be good.
This one's for the Daywalker. I want to talk about, there's a few of them left of your team. You guys seem to be having this massive ascension through MMA. You've come up, a crew of you, through the ranks together. You've picked up peace along the way. Talk us through the team at House of Tinkerbell, what's going on there and what we can expect from the youngsters.
Okay, firstly, on that note, I'd just like to address Graham because you said that the amateur scene in SA isn't as like I have to address, I can't let it go. You said that our quality, I think this is a great fight. I think it's probably great, and our amateurs are just as great. Who said we're not that great? Come on, Graham. You've built your organization on us. Oh, come on. Number two, man.
Hey, listen, listen. You're an EFC fighter now, so you're not an amateur, so you're great. Okay.
I'll take a good save. Secondly, my team, yes. So Peace has recently joined us, and that has been a totally new aspect to our team because he's this now big guy. So it's cool to have a big guy, or not so many like Shannon and Nate. We're all small guys, we're tidy. So it's good to have Peace because he's good for JP as well, and he's good for us. And just our team, man.
Why is he good for JP?
Because JP might come back and he might kick some butts. That's happening. But just trading partners, man. There was a point, House of Tinkerbell. It was literally, we were three. It was Nate, me, and Shannon, and that was our training, and Orlando. Let me not forget Orlando. And Orlando, so it's 4. And that was our team. And I think with the amateur events, everyone saw like the brotherhood and the family, and they wanted a bit of that. And in that, our team kind of just grew and built it. And there's a lot of we got a lot of new guys talking that want to join our team and everything. So it's brilliant, it's great. Plus we have Pesva as well that come through every now and again to help us touch up on our wrestling and striking and just give a whole different angle to stuff. So yeah, our team is huge and it's only getting bigger. So that's good.
You guys have obviously shown a lot of success, and I think it's got a lot to do with the atmosphere in your team. What do you think is behind the success of your team at the moment?
Love, real love, man. Like, there's a lot of teams and there's a lot of gyms, and I'm not saying like love is going to solve everything. That's lies, man. That's lies. But what I'm saying is, if there's love there, it makes things a little bit better. When you lose, it's not so much of, oh, gift, you shit, go to the corner, work with the shit team. It's gift. How can we make you better? Let's get you back in there. Not too quick, but let's do it the right way, man. This is just love. We're not in this for the money. Like, honestly, like, I'm getting paid to fight now, and it's not much of a difference. It's really not. It's not like from Fight Star or Alpha. It's really not much of a difference, except I get paid now.
I want to ask you about that. We've watched one or two of your guys come up, yourself, Nate, Peace. We've long been speaking about you guys on the amateur circuit and waiting for the day when it would be here. What is it like for you now to be in that day?
Like I was saying to Nate and Peace and them, I'm not so nervous for the fight. The fight, I'm like, it's a fight. I was more excited for this. I'm like, oh, media day, there's like lights and cameras and people talking to you. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. This is really cool. So, yeah, I've enjoyed that, like, that pro scene, that part of it. But as regards to fights, a fight doesn't change, man. The only thing different from last year is they took off my shin pads. It's the only thing different.
Last one for me. For the people that have never seen you fight, what would you say they can expect from you?
Fireworks. I think when it comes to striking, like, I'm up there, but when it comes to the all-round game, I feel I'm a breed apart from our division, and that's where I'm going to come in, and I'm getting how you would call a feeder fight, and it's good for me to get my feet wet in the cage, but I do feel if Graham could set me up, if I get a good performance after this, if Graham could set me up with someone like Uzuma Octavio, man, you'd really get to see the true gift walker then. That would be crazy fight. So Graham, if you're listening, me and Octavio.
I am listening, and you're actually not a bantamweight, you're a flyweight, eh?
Yeah, and so is Uzuma Octavio, so thank you.
Question to Gift, making your debut, I mean, you now the umpteenth sort of young athlete to come out of House of Tinkerbell, stepping in under the EFC professional lights. You've said that not really too much additional pressure has been put on your shoulders, but from a team point of view, the team has been very, very successful at amateur level. I mean, you look at Peace now joining you, obviously been very successful on the international circuit as well when it comes to the IMFs. How much pressure is there from a team point of view? Yeah, I know there's love and all that kind of stuff, but how much pressure is there for you to be able to get out there and deliver what the team has been training you for all these years?
Not really, no pressure. There's no pressure. There's never any pressure. Like, not saying I'm going to, but I could go on and lose 3 fights, and there would still be no pressure on me. Like, this is literally, I do this because I love it. It's literally, I wake up in the morning, I take my run, not because someone said, Gift, you must run. It's because I want to run. I like running. Yeah, it's one of those things. If someone's going to be like, there's pressure, that's when you lose. That's when you get knocked out. That's when you get submitted. But if you go in no pressure and just have fun, man, you get to be yourself, and that's what I'm aiming for.
Orlando, you've, many, many years we've watched you coming through the ranks, Fight Stars and the like. You've been here now, quite a few fights under the belt. That loss aside, thoughts of what in your game needs to change to take you to the next level of Orlando that we can see as fans?
Yeah, that is my game is to change, is to pick up more training and all that, because I got everything. The only thing I have to do it is just like, I believe myself when I'm in the cage, and then everything is okay. So that's why it's nothing level, like I can go and pick up and do more training. My training is always good, like I'm training every day, every time. So it's awesome.
Mark, sorry, do you know what he needs? Seriously, he needs to fight more. This guy's been inactive, and that's the problem. Is he's got the team, he's got the ability, and he loves fighting. He's hungry. He just needs to get more cage time.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the issue with most of the fighters on all the cards that you've been putting together. We just need more and more of them. Orlando, in terms of your experience, your debut fight, how much time have you spent with Gift to be able to say, hey, dude, this is what I experienced? Doesn't necessarily mean it will be the same, but how much of that passing on of information is there within the team to the youngsters that are taking that first step?
I used to tell them the fight is the same thing. The only thing is going to change is going to be the round, because it's not going to be that 3 minutes round. It's going to be 5 minutes. And then also you have to take out the shins and head kick, that's all. But everything is the same in the cage. So I keep on telling them, like, you know, like, you must keep everything like how we train in the gym, and then it's the same in the cage, that's all.
Final question for you, Gift. In terms of having a head coach like JP there every day, training, beating you up, because I doubt whether you beat him up that much. And having him cage side, part of the walkout, all that kind of stuff. In terms of this build-up, in terms of this opportunity that you've been given now to start making money doing what you love best, how important is that for not only you, but for the rest of the team that's going to be putting on a display on Saturday?
I think, honestly, I don't think I would be where I'm at if it wasn't for JP, because I was at another team before I went to JP, and this was like 9 years ago. And that team, like I said, there wasn't really love. Like, I was winning competitions and winning, but my coach wouldn't show up to a tournament. So now you can imagine, like, yeah, I can see your face. I'm winning a gold medal with no coach in my corner. It's crazy. It's like, and I'm like 15 years old. So when I found JP, it was like, this is right. This is right. He would tell me about the competition so that you can understand he's going to be there. And when he's there, he makes sure I'm warmed up, I'm stretched, I'm ready to go. So that kind of figure, that kind of person, I wouldn't be here without him. I'm not even going to lie. And that's like just like awesome. That's totally awesome. I don't think I'd want anything else or anyone else as my coach to be in my corner. Yeah.
Well, thanks for those comments, guys, and good luck Saturday night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Question there for Gift, just to follow up, changing from amateur to professional, you know, obviously everyone wants more money, it's a big factor. How things been sponsorship-wise for you? Have you managed with any personal sponsorship?
Sponsors have actually been great. Like, if you guys have seen this, all my sponsors, yeah, you guys have been awesome. I've got some cool sponsors. Like, a few of my clients, they joined on to my sponsoring team, and just like, it's more not a sponsor, it's more family that have sponsored me, like people that are close to my heart. They've come into my circle and they've helped me and everything. So that's cool. That keeps it more family orientated anyway. So I like that.
And give us a timeline in your head where you see yourself going 1 year from now, 3 years from now.
Not hopefully, I'm lying to you. I'm going to give me 2 years, I'll wear EFC gold, and then from 2 years from that, in the next 4 years, I should be in the UFC or some big international promotion. I'm like, when I hit 25, that's in 4 years, I need to be at a certain level. And if I'm not there, I'm going to be really disappointed with myself. So I've got this kind of planned out, and I think it will go the way I plan, yeah.
Cool, thanks. And Orlando, how much footage have you seen on Eduardo?
Sorry?
How much footage have you seen on your opponent, Eduardo Barros?
Nothing I see for him. There's nothing.
Do you have a message for him? He's not here now. In fact, for Graham, when does he arrive in South Africa?
I think he arrives tomorrow, Wednesday, sorry.
And do you have a message for him? I mean, or are you just going to wait to see him on weigh-in, and anything you've got to say to him welcoming him, I assume, to South Africa for the first time?
I'm excited. I also want to see him face-to-face on Friday.
He's actually been here. He's fought in the amateur circuits here. So that's where he gained his popularity and obviously his wins.
I'm going to send the question over to Mr. Walker. You've been training with Orlando. How close are you guys as training partners? And how have you guys been preparing him for the fight?
We trading partners as trading partners are. We trade together. We don't got like bite crowds together. That's weird. But we like trading partners. Yeah, he asked me about this fight. I said, "Do you want this fight?" He was like, "Yeah." Then I was like, "Let's do it. Let's take it." And it's one of those things of, he tells me like, this guy's a striker. I will prepare for a good striker. But then we also don't neglect our game. We're gonna go and we're gonna make sure that Orlando is the best Orlando he can be there.
Thank you very much, Orlando. Thank
so
you
very
very
much,
much,
Graham.
Gift. I'm excited to have you debut.
I'm excited to be here.
It's going to be awesome. And thanks for punting the amateur circuit. All right, you want to... gentlemen, can you just do a face-off? Well, not a face-off, a face-to-camera.
Face each other,
shot?
fight each other.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Awesome. Then we could separate them. Should we separate the two of them? Fine. All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, I'm going to just go over to Mark quickly and have a few questions from him.
Graham, just in terms of where the EFC is at the moment, if we look at the welterweight division and the middleweight division, what's going on there? I mean, when do we get to see Themba Garimba put that title on the line? If we just focus, let's stay with the welterweight division to start with.
Themba, okay, so the whole plan was originally for Martin van Staden to fight Jose de Rocha, and then for the winner to fight Themba. Themba didn't necessarily move away from that fight. He didn't say he doesn't want it. So I've pitched him on it. He said he's cool for that fight to take place and then for one of those guys to face him. Timeline, a little bit difficult. I'd pitched it to Martin, very keen on the fight. And we know Jose, he just wants to fight. He doesn't care who. And Martin, being the contender in that space, said, look, Graham, I actually am only going to be able to commit a little bit later, November, December, best case scenario. So we're likely to see a contention with Themba if he doesn't get into the UFC, which is what his main goal is, in February or March, like first fight cards of the year.
And in terms of the middleweight division, what's the horizon looking like there? Because at the moment, if we look at the roster, there's no sort of clear standout.
So Luke Michael is in contention. We call it pre-contention. Like I would want to put him up against a big fight. There we've got Jose that wants to come up to middleweight if things favor him. So I would love to see that fight. We've got some guys returning. I've mentioned JP Kruger. We would like to bring him back. He would like to contend there. I think that having him back in the mix would be incredible.
Is that in the Masters division?
I mean, I stood in front of him just now, and you forget what a tall guy he is. I mean, he's a big guy. He's got to cut some weight, so we're going to be looking further down the line. Soldier Boy has been trying to get back in the mix. He only wants one opponent, and it's Brendan Lazar, so he wants to try and make that happen. Zakir Badat, I've pitched a fight to him, see if he can get back on board. He's got an opportunity to be in front of Dana White in the not too distant future. And I said, look, if that doesn't come to fruition, get your ass in gear. Well, it's actually his manager in gear, and we want to see you here. So there's a lot of big names at the top of the middleweight division, but we got to just keep motoring forward, get a contender, get a title fight going, and then it'll all come to play, I think.
Final one from me. Let's talk about the ladies' divisions. Amanda Lino, when do we see her defend that title? What's happening at the strawweight title? And then obviously
straw, I'm letting that division sit. The reality is that I don't even have another strawweight fighter, and Carolina, she's making her way to KSW. She's doing exceptionally well there. And when it comes back online and I get a huge amount of strawweight, or we do a TF3 with strawweight females, amazing. But until that time, as they come in, I'll start working with them and matching them. The flyweight division is vacant at the moment. Manon went to the UFC and is kicking butt and taking names there, which is great. But what we're trying to do is float between flyweight and bantamweight with all the ladies we currently have. And I did pitch Lino on a bantamweight defense against Bunmi. Bunmi's focusing on her medical career at the moment, has said that she would love a fight if it was in Cape Town, she's moving there because she wouldn't be able to stretch it out as much. But we've got other girls on the go. Kaylee's looking great. Tricia's back in action. Shana Power's back in action. So we're building the division back up with the girls that we have. And I would love to see a defense in December with Lino and somebody. Could be Shana, could be whoever's at the top of the pops there.
Thanks so much, Graham. All the best for Saturday.
Thank you, Mark.
Greg, can you touch on the Nerek Simos versus Godogo on the fight card? That fight's not there anymore?
Yeah. Okay. So Nerek was originally matched to fight Godogo, and we did that at a catchweight because Godogo was big at the time and said, look, I need to come in at 68 if we can do it. I said, fine. I pitched it to Nerek and co. They were in. And it was hard to pitch because they weren't that keen on taking the fight. I'm not too sure why. It feels like Bule's got some juju on him. Like he's a really good fighter, and he's had one win in the organization, but seems to be hard to match. And then what happened is Bule said, look, there's an issue, a family issue. He won't be able to commit to the fight anymore. Can we postpone it for the next month? And I really wanted to keep Nerek on the fight card, and I pitched it to Gorilla Sondi, and he accepted it straight off the bat. And I said, look, but you know it's at 68. Can we do it at 68? He said, please, can we squeeze it to 69? I thought it was a pretty relatively inconsequential agreement, like 1 kilo more. And Nerek just said, no, I want it at 68. So after debating it or negotiating it for 3 days, we got it at 68. And Nerek declined it. And my only message to him was, why? And he said, the team doesn't want me to take it, which, like, we're just trying to put fights together, and these guys are, I don't know, they're messing around, to be honest with you. Nerek has every opportunity to take a fight. I mean, this guy's on debut. He's making his debut, Sondi, and he won't take a fight against the debut. He declined the fight against August, Kayambala. We pitched him the August fight, and he didn't want that. That would have been a great fight. So, I mean, with guys like that, what do? You know, we've got to tell people in the media, and they need to know this. Like, I'm really tired of guys declining fights, and then we just go, okay. You know, they need to know why. I mean, bar going to his gym and dragging him into the hexagon, what do we need to do? He's training for it, not taking it. But anyway.
Is there any fight you're specifically looking forward to? Rubbish question. What fight are you looking forward to most?
Cole, Henning, August, Kayambala. Aziyashu, Takama Hindu. Those are the two fights that I promise you I'm excited. Oh, I'm just going to be raving about them. I love them. I think that's a great fight. Those two great matchups. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. EFC 89 press conference. It was incredibly awesome having all of you guys here and taking part. Thank you to all the athletes. Watch this on every social media platform we have.
Two former champions collide for flyweight gold. The king of the strikers, Takama Zulu, faces the infamous judoka, Lutando Biko. And the formidable Igor Cabeza moves up to test his might against the hazardous hands of Kanyeba. EFC 89, Zulu Boy vs. Biko, Cabeza vs. Kanyeba, Saturday, 11th September, live on EFCWorldwide.tv, info at EFCWorldwide.com.